Welcome to Leadership Unlocked, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with top real estate team leaders to uncover what it really takes to build a thriving business and a high-performing culture. I'm your host, Sarita Dua, and in each episode, we sit down with leaders who've built scalable, values-driven teams. You'll hear real stories about how they got started, the lessons they've learned, and the unique superpowers that make their team stand out. Whether you're a real estate professional exploring your next move or just passionate about leadership and growth, you're in the right place. Let's unlock what makes great leaders and great teams truly magnetic. Welcome, Jacqueline. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I feel so honored to be here.
I'm so excited to welcome Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline is a team owner and operator of Evergreen Real Estate Partners, which is based in Vancouver, Washington, and the Portland, Oregon metro area. And without further ado, I'm going to just turn it to Jacqueline and have her introduce herself.
Yeah, thanks. Jacqueline Smith, Evergreen Real Estate Partners, like she said. We cover all of Southwest Washington, Portland metro area. I've been in the business for just over 10 years in real estate, and I love, love, love what I do. I did not ever intend, I wasn't one of those that had a lifelong dream of getting into real estate. It was really something that I kind of got thrust into, I'll say. But I was pleasantly surprised. It was nothing like I thought it would be. It was everything I didn't know I needed and more. So as cheesy as that sounds.
We love cheese. We're going to get cheesy. And one thing I love about you for as long as I've known you is you're just real and you're honest and you just tell it like it is. And your humility and your willingness to kind of share stories of where you've succeeded and where you've blundered and failed your way forward. That's what people need to hear. So let's talk about that. Like you said, you didn't sort of plan to get into real estate. How did it start? Like, how did you get into it?
Yeah, I mean, not very many people know this story, but I am from Canada and I actually moved down here when I married my husband. It was like in 2009 when the market had completely crashed here. I was going through like immigration at the time, and he was a contractor. He is a contractor, but all the work, like, people canceled everything, no one was doing anything. And he was like, I kind of remember meeting this guy that did property preservation work for the banks, and remember at this point, like, all the foreclosures were happening. So we started this property preservation company, where we would go into properties and we would essentially get them cleaned out, trashed out, repairs made so that they were safe and like marketable. And then we would work with listing agents locally who would list the properties. And then we would go in and inspect them every week and manage them for the asset managers at the time. So it was just a pivot really for his business. And so we got into relationship with all of these REO agents at the time. And he just started planting the seed, like, you should get your real estate license. Like, you'd be so awesome at it. And I was like, hell no, like, I'm not going to get into real estate. Like, I grew up on Vancouver Island, on the beach, like in flip-flops, 9 months of the year. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to become a real estate agent and like drive a BMW and wear a pantsuit. Like,
no, I was going to say the pointed heels and the running around.
Yeah,
from movies.
I was like, no way. That is so not me at all. Anyways, he just kept on saying it over and over. I kept on ignoring him. And then funny enough, not funny back then, but we got audited by the state of Washington, just like random audit through DOL. And I completely freaked out. And so I was like, what if they shut us down? Like, I just went right to like worst case scenario. And I don't know why in that moment, I was like, what can I do? And I was like, I'm going to get my real estate license. I legit, like, that's the true story of like when I decided. I did my license, Sarita. I was licensed in 3 weeks. And it was going to just be like, okay, I'm just going to do this, kind of like the property preservation was like a pivot for him. This was like my pivot in case like they shut us down.
It was basically an insurance policy for failure, right? Like, if it all goes to pot, this is what I'll have left, right?
Yeah.
I love it. So you got your license, never really grew up saying, when I do that, when I grow up, I want to be a real estate agent. It became sort of this backup plan that became your plan B became your plan A.
Yes. Yeah. So I
And what
jumped in.
year was that? Like, how long ago was that?
That was in 2014.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So
So you pivoted, you got your license, and then what? You never looked back.
really, honestly, like I started at this little brokerage in town and it just wasn't a fit for me. And then I went to a class at the library here, and it was like an agent invited me to it, and they were talking about like 90 listings in 90 days. And I was like, what? Who are these people? Like this energy, you know? And so I moved over to Keller Williams, and the team leader at the time sat me down and he was like, what are your goals? You know? And I was like, gosh, like I think I've pretty much been in survival mode like my entire life. So like I don't have a goal. How do I pick a goal? And he's like, well, do you have like a budget? Is there a certain amount of money you need to make? And I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I don't want to just do it as another like way to survive. Like, what's the most an agent could do in a month, like on their own? And I said, not a new agent, just like an agent in general, before they'd like hit a ceiling, you know, without having administrative support. And I had read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book.
Mhm.
And my team leader at the time, he said, probably about four per month. And then you'd probably need some like help, you know? And I was like, okay, that's my goal, 4 a month, 48.
I
And
love it. He asked you your goal, and you're like, "What should my goal be?" And then you're
yeah,
like, "That." Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
kind of joke sometimes and wonder like, what if he would have said 10? I don't know. Maybe I would have done it. I was so ignorant. I didn't even know,
Yeah.
like, you know, I didn't have any context for any of this at the time. So
And 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 so then you made that your goal, and that was again as you got started. And then let's talk about the first couple of years. Did you hit your goals?
I exceeded my goal. So he helped me build a plan. I executed on it. I sold 52 homes. So my first full year was 2015. And so I came to Keller like in July 2014. We built that plan. I kind of started, you know, doing training and ramping up. And then that was the year I sold 52 houses. And then I hired my first assistant at the end of that first year, which was a goal I had. And then from there, I started to build a team. I researched a lot in the meantime too. Like I legit flew and spent some time with different teams. I flew down to Scottsdale. I went to every class. Like you probably remember that. Was it called ESO?
Yep.
Expansion
Yep.
System Orientation? Yeah.
Systems orientation. Exactly.
I did that class like 4 times, and every time I did it, it like convinced me more and more that I thought I wanted to partner with someone to do it, because not that I couldn't figure it out, but remember, I wasn't like a spring chicken at the time. My husband and I were on our second marriage. Like we were kind of restarting in life together. And I was like, I don't want to take 15 years to build a team to end up at like, they were saying they were happy if they were at like 10% or 15% profit margin. I was like, no way. And all of the like relationships that went sideways and money they wasted along the way to figure things out. It wasn't that I didn't believe that I could do it on my own. I just literally didn't want to. The more I learned, I was like, why would I not partner with someone and just learn from their mistakes and shave like 10 years off of my trajectory, you know?
Yeah, I hear like a really good impatience, right? Like where you're like, I want to succeed. I want to succeed at a high level. I want to get there fairly quickly. And let's partner the power of partnership with others as opposed to like figuring this thing out. So some people build a team by kind of default, like, oh, I needed help. So I got help and I built the team. And other people sort of just know that that's the direction they're going to go. It sounds like you might have been in the latter bucket where you kind of knew that partnering is going to get you there faster.
Yes. And also, like Chris Suarez at the time, I had met with him. I had met with Ben. I had met with, like, at the time, all of the major expansion teams, organizations, whatever you call them. And Chris Suarez actually said something to me at the time that really resonated. He said, you know, he was talking about him and Ben. He said, Ben Kinney is like a businessman who happens to be in the real estate space. He's like, I'm like a realtor who runs my business like a business, you know? He's like, I love realtors. I love real estate. I actually, when Phil and I built our business before I got into real estate, I actually did like fall in love with like building and entrepreneurship and business ownership through that process. And when I read Millionaire Real Estate Agent, I did come into this thinking, I want to build a business. I don't want to just sell real estate. I really want to build a business. I want to build something like impactful if I'm going to do this. So I was kind of like, I guess with the mindset of if I'm going to do this, I'm going to like go big or go home kind of thing. And so I did have that. And then the other piece of it was I was paying attention to my fulfillment level along the way. And my second year, I'd had like a buyer's agent and a showing partner. We sold like 87 homes and then 136 homes. And I was kind of like, I wasn't feeling like as fulfilled as I thought I would feel by the numbers. And I thought, what number will I have to hit before I feel fulfilled? And that sent me on this journey of paying attention to the days I felt most fulfilled versus the days that I was fine. I love selling real estate. I love working with clients, but there's a different level of fulfillment that I felt when I was lead generating, like with other agents, helping them, teaching, leading really, and helping and teaching people. I felt another level of fulfillment that I didn't quite feel just from selling a ton of real estate.
So I love it. So it was like you were successful, but the actual joy you were really seeing was when you were collaborating with others, not only helping develop them, but also feeding off of their energy, kind of high-fiving each other as you had success together, realizing that actually filled your cup. That's a huge kind of awareness. So we know it wasn't all roses and lollipops and rainbows. I would ask you kind of early on, like, again, you're goal oriented. You kind of set that goal for 48. You did 52. You started really knocking it down with regards to building a team. What were some of the early challenges you faced as a leader? Like where did it get kind of ugly and hard?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I didn't know I was great at sales, but I got into real estate and realized like I was actually like really good at selling real estate. And so I took that energy, when you go on like a listing appointment and that hustle and like you get them signed, like you don't leave, you get the paperwork signed, you get the listing agreement signed.
Yeah, you close the deal, you get the deal.
Yeah, it was kind of like that with agents. So if I met with an agent, and I tell people this as a joke kind of, but it's true. Like if you didn't annoy me and you wanted to work with me, I was like, let's do this. Let's like high five, like, let's go.
You passed the breathing test, you're in.
Yeah. And so it took me, I did that though for probably like a couple of years like that, where I was just bringing on anyone really that wanted to work with me. I had no clarity on like the partners that were a good fit and like what my value was, I guess, too, And so in 2019, I ended up parting ways with several team members that they were like my original people, and I loved them. I loved them so much, and it to be honest, like it completely broke my heart. Mm-hmm. And so that was, probably the biggest thing is like, how do I lead people without getting attached to them really, because I don't own these people. And just the nature
is seasonal too, right? People are in your life for a season or a reason, and it may not be forever, but it's still really hard if you get attached.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
That was probably the biggest like shift was like learning, okay, this is different than the pace at which real estate transactions tend to happen. I've got to really slow down. And if people are excited to work with me, I almost have to pump the brakes and take some time to make sure it's a good fit. And like, what are we solving together? It has to be more than I like you, you like me, like, let's get into business together.
Yeah. So having clarity of vision, having a standard, having criteria, knowing what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, let's fast forward to today a little bit. Let's talk about how your team is structured and what role Place played in helping you scale to get to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, for one, I think, well, I'll go to how my team's structured first, and then we can talk
Yeah.
about Place. So we have about 20 agents right now. I say about because I'm waiting for someone to sign a contract, and like we're growing. We've got a couple more people coming on at the end of the summer, just with timing wise. So we're sitting at probably closer to 24 agents.
Mhm.
Um, and I have great staff and a director of sales now who, Suzanne, she's been with me since the very beginning. She was is an agent on the team and kind of grew into this position. I don't know what else you want to know about the structure, but that's about it.
No, it gives a good sense of how big the team is. I guess we should just ask, do your agents do both the buy side and listing side? And how many admin do you have for the agent staff that you have?
Yes. So our agents do both sides. So they are agents, not buyers agents or listing specialists. They do both. And then our staff, we have a director of operations, we have 4 virtual assistants, and then 1 part-time assistant to my DOO. So she has a part-time office
So
assistant.
I would say, just from the outside looking in, that's a fairly lean team with regards to the admin support you have for so many agents. You're leveraging virtual resources, and you don't have a bunch of full-time headcount, which is great. So really focused on your cost structure there and making sure things are efficient and lean.
Yeah, the thing is that, and that kind of segues into the Place conversation is, with Place, I have I have a design team. So I don't have staff spending like any time at all in Canva. We don't do
Right.
Canva.
Yeah.
They put in their request for designs. They're not designers, so
Mhm.
they, that I think helps, alleviate some need for, maybe like a marketing specialist or someone that does stuff like that. And then the
Mhm.
other thing is like the accounting department. So I have someone that, that department that's helping me with all the financials and managing all of that, which helps, take things off what would normally be on my director of operations plate.
Mhm.
And then our launch programs, through Place and just all of the tools and tech that we have. I mean, I think that shaves off, I think that's like 3 staff members right there that we just, rattled off,
Mhm.
um, that we would normally have to have, I think, if you were not a part of a platform like ours.
I love that. Yep, that makes sense. So not only are you more efficient and saving money, but by leaning into these shared resources
Mhm.
that have the benefit of getting experience from other teams across the network, right? You're also getting the latest and greatest. For example, the onboarding program's never the same. The productivity challenges we do are never the same. They're always getting better and different and updated with regards to what's working in today's market. And so you're right. Sometimes you need a summer intern or you need a full-time salaried person to put together programs to not only hire but retain agents and do all the support functions that Place offers. So I
Yeah.
love that. Is there any, and this is a loaded question and I'm asking on purpose, are there any specific playbooks, systems, or like tools that Place has offered you that has transformed your business? And I know sometimes you might be like all of them, but like if you could think of anything specific that sort of was a game changer in your business, that's a tool or resource from Place, I would love to hear about it.
I mean, it is true that it is all of them. I am kind of known, I follow models because I'm of the mindset of, if I was going to do it my way, I should have just like done it my way on my own, right? So if I'm going to be here and partner with Place, I want to do what they're providing, and I've helped build a lot of this stuff. I'm one of the founding partners. And so whenever we have a need, it's nice that we can actually influence, what's being offered and help build, and not have to build it all ourselves. If I was on my own, there's no way I could offer the level of healthcare health insurance that we offer. I mean, I could offer revenue share, but I mean, it's not going to be at the same level as, what our agents have. I wouldn't be able to do, this huge winners event in Scottsdale that all my agents get to go to. Like, there's just things happening at scale that would be really hard to replicate, and opportunities that I can offer people that the average team owner just can't offer. And an example of that would be, I can recruit higher level operations talent to my organization than a non-place person can. And here's why. A non-place person, I mean, what they're going to offer, whatever salary they can offer, at some point, like, they're going to want more opportunity than just, being your assistant. And so for me, like, I've had 2 operational staff members that are now working with Place Corporate, that are living like their dream and continuing to grow. And when I'm interviewing for operations staff, like, they see those examples. Even agents, agents see that we are an organization that provides opportunities to people who want them, who create them and take advantage of them. And so I think from a recruiting talent perspective, I don't know that I could replicate any of this, being Jacqueline Smith, the Jacqueline Smith
I
show.
love that. And I think you said something that we should all kind of pause and note, which is the entrepreneurial side of all of us just wants to sort of do it our way. Our way is the best way. And we like to be creative and different.
Mhm.
But you have to kind of go against that tendency and just lean in, follow the models. It's like a great chef with the recipe. Follow the recipe, like nail the recipe. Then you can add your extra spice here and there once you get the recipe down. But there's so many of us that are trying to re-engineer everything to make it our way. And it
Mhm.
really defeats the purpose of having proven models and systems. And so to kind of put our ego aside and be like, look, this is tested. It works. Lean into it and
Mhm.
give feedback to make it better, as opposed to let me redo everything because I don't like to be told what to do. Many of us that are agents are not hireable because we're not as much rule followers as kind of creating our own version of what we want to do. So I love that you said that, because you're just like, I didn't want to do it by myself. I just wanted to lean in.
And you just said something really smart, that we can lean into those systems and help build them. So I have that entrepreneurial creativity. I want to build, like, I'm a builder. I'm called to build things. So the way that I look at this is, I could have built Jacqueline Smith Realty Group, or I can help build Place, which will have way more of an impact on the people's lives that I bring in, that I work with, than if I was just building Jacqueline Smith Realty Group. And so for me, like, I still feel super fulfilled from that entrepreneurial side. I'm just funneling that energy into building something way bigger with amazing, smart humans that are building with me, like people like
Alongside you.
you
Yep.
know,
I
and
love
I think it's like way cooler. So yeah.
I love that. So let's talk about like your team. What is like the vibe of the team? How would you describe your culture?
So I've recently, I think, figured out how to really articulate this, and it came from rereading Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habit book. And that's really what it is. It's a high performance team. And that doesn't mean that all my people are selling 100 houses, right? What it means is they are achieving their income goals and achieving their health goals and achieving their relationship goals, living a fulfilled life, building wealth, right? Creating this life that they are happy and excited about. So that could be someone that's selling 12 houses, or Lindsay on my team, like, she'll probably sell 20 houses this year. But guess what? She has a baby and she is taking time off. She's very focused on what moves the needle for her. And people like that to me is much more fulfilling than having a bunch of people that are grinding, building, maybe my dream or what I think they should build, Like they're building what they want. And so really our culture or our vibe is a culture of owners, a culture of ownership, a leadership culture where we are very growth minded and self leadership is a non negotiable. And I'd say that like kind of sums up where we're at in this season, at least, you know?
Well, I love that. And I love that you're unapologetic about it, right? I think as leaders, we sometimes just want to be everything to everybody, kind of Burger King, have it your way. Oh, you want that? We have that. You want luxury? We'll do luxury. If you want to sell a couple houses a year, we've got that too. And I think to be really clear of what you are and what you're not and what the environment's like, to be able to actually sit down with someone who's thinking about joining your team and saying, look, we are pretty high accountability and self accountability environment. You're going to do work. And if you don't want to do work and you don't want to make contacts, you're not going to be happy here. And there's so many of us that don't want to have those conversations sometimes inherently because you feel like you might lose someone, but you actually win by having that very clear of like, what is your culture? What is it? What isn't it? And then attracting the people that vibe to that culture.
Yeah, someone said this to me recently. Like, if you can get extreme clarity on who you are and who you want to be, also, right? Like, because we're always in the process of becoming,
Sure.
and you
Okay.
can be authentic and really communicate with authenticity. Your authenticity will be like a bug repellent, you know, to keep the people that are not a fit away. And it'll be like a magnet for the people that are a fit. And so, you know, we actually don't micromanage. I don't monitor, you know, did you do this many opens and this many conversations? Like, I don't do any of that. I did in the past. Really what it is now is like, you know, we help people get clarity on what their goals will require. So here's the work that what you want requires. Are you willing to do that work or are you not? And then if not, like, let's find something that you will
Yeah.
align with.
Let's look
And
at
then
another strategy to get there. Exactly.
and then you know what? Like, we are also a culture, we're a team of people that do what they say they're going to do. So if you're not that person, like if you continually break promises to yourself and don't follow through on things in your life, when you come into our environment, you're either going to shift that very quickly or you're going to feel extremely uncomfortable on our team. And so that is who we are. And I've actually never really been happier than I currently am in my leadership right now and with the people that are around us and the culture that we have. So it's pretty cool.
I love that for you because it's not easy. Leadership is not easy and we stumble our way through and you're in a place now where your culture sets the standard and you don't have to babysit to that standard and you've got everybody aligned to that standard, which just makes it fun because you hire adults that you don't have to babysit and they're going to love it or they're not based on what they're attracted to. And if you can be really clear and honest about what to expect, I mean, I
Mhm.
think that's huge. And to that end, I would ask you if you were talking to somebody who's thinking about joining your team, what would you say your team's superpower is or like your unique value proposition?
I mean, aside from the obvious, like, we do provide a leveraged approach to this business. So we take the 80%, you know, off the plate of the sales agent so they can focus on the income drivers in their business. But I think that's hopefully most teams are providing that. I think for our superpower, I do think that one of my superpowers is I can see the potential in people and help them see the potential in themselves, and just being able to cast vision and get people focused on the amazing potential of this industry. Like, it's just been kind of clicking, you know. I think a lot of times, like especially in tough markets, like people are hearing like the market's so hard, everything is hard, you know. And it's like, you know what, yeah, maybe if I was going to make $50,000, I wouldn't want to like make phone calls and door knock and like host open houses every weekend and just like work hard like that on uncomfortable things. But if you tell me, like me as a new agent, I was like, I can make $300,000 like net. Are you kidding me? Like, tell me what to do as long as it's legal. I will do it, you know? And so I've just been really more recently getting people excited about like the possibilities are in this business. Like there's nowhere that you can go out and spend $2,000 and like 100 hours or whatever it is, wherever you are, you know, here it's 90, and get your license and make $300,000 plus like in the next 18 months. Like that is just insane to me. And so there's so much potential. I think sometimes we get stuck in like how hard it is and we get so focused on our problems. And this is an amazing business. I'm excited about it. And I'm just looking for people who want to transform their lives, like truly transform their financial future and their family's financial position. And if that's you, like you're who I want, because you know, there's just so much opportunity.
So Jacqueline, you when I'm listening to you talk, I can tell you're like pinching yourself with excitement that you get to do this. And so this idea of limitless opportunity, not only do you believe that, but you then make the people around you believe it, especially if they start having doubts. So this idea of like, we get to do this. It's not we have to do this. We get to do this. And then it's contagious, right? If you truly believe that, people have good days, people have bad days, people get discouraged, people need cheerleading, but like you believe in them more than sometimes they believe in themselves, and you can see that picture and paint it. That makes an environment where it's super positive, and people, and also you're modeling it, right? And so is everyone on the team. So I love that. I think you articulated that really well, because you're right. I mean, leverage is important, productivity and playbooks is important, working really hard, working harder than ever, to really find the motivated. That's all a given, but to really be grateful about the opportunities this industry affords us and gives us, and to really take advantage of all of that, I think that's really huge. So to that end, what kind of agents thrive on your team? Like what's the role model agent that's going to do really well?
Yeah. So, you know, our values are grounded in growth. So number one is you have to be growth minded. So what that means is you don't like to settle. You want to grow, not just income, but you want to grow as a person, because your business will only ever grow to the extent that you do. Now, to grow, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And you have to want to know your blind spots. Like you have to be so coachable. I want to know my blind spots. Like don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. Like tell me what I don't know. And so that kind of vibe, like you have to be coachable, you have to want to grow, and you have to understand that you have agency and the power to completely transform your life. But that only happens if you're willing to look in the mirror, have those tough conversations, have the uncomfortable conversations. And then I think the other part is just really taking ownership of your future and having vision for what you want and why you want it, and being willing to go all in on it. Like that probably sums it up in 2 words, is like, you won't really feel good here if you're not going to be all in.
If you're holding back.
Yeah. Like I'm all in. You can tell, like I'm all in on you.
All in, and the person who's not is just not going to be comfortable, because, like you're with a bunch of people that are running their best race ever, and you're sort of strolling, and you're just not going to feel excited about the people that are around you.
You're going to think we're weirdos. Like you're just going to think we're too much. And, this coach I have, she said to me, you know what, if you feel constantly like you're too much, like maybe you're in the wrong room, you know? And so, yeah, we'll probably feel too much for people that aren't really wanting to make huge drastic changes in their life and like really kill it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I love this because I know I can talk to you for another half hour easily because I'm learning so much. But just to kind of give a little commercial, where can people find out about your team and learn more about what Evergreen Real Estate Partners is up to and how to get started joining your team?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on social media. On Instagram, I'm Jacqueline Ray Smith. On Facebook, I'm Jacqueline Smith. You can also check out JacquelineSmithLeadership.com. I post a ton of video content for agents on that site. It's kind of like my little video resource library for realtors. So you can check that out and reach out to me on social media. I'm on there a lot. And yeah, I'd love to meet with anyone that is looking to grow their business.
Perfect. And any final thoughts you want to leave us with as we wrap up?
Just, I think you get what you're looking for. It's been on my mind today. And so get clear on what it is you want and then go all in. Like, make sure that your language is in alignment with what you want. Make sure that your habits are in alignment with what you want. And I think that's like true integrity isn't just, they say doing the right thing. It's when you're whole and complete and aligned with your future self. And so just go all in on that and you won't lose.
Perfect. And if I can just embarrass you for a second, just to play back a couple of things what I heard in this session and like what I was really impressed by. There's so much, but one, you're incredibly goal oriented. You're clear on your vision and you're not afraid of hard work. And it shows based on not only the way you set your goals, but the fact that you read a lot of books, you went and visited teams, you're willing to do the homework and just really know what something's about as you jump all in. The second thing is you get a lot of energy around others. Your need and want to make people better and success with others makes you a perfect team leader and team operator because you want to bring people along with you and make them better as well as you actually your humility of they make you better too. It's really like it's an experience that you want to share as opposed to just going it alone. And the third thing is not only are you all in, you're unapologetically all in. It's just who you are. It's the t-shirt you'd wear. And like you said, people might think you're a freak because you're not going to dim your light to make other people feel comfortable. You guys know what you want. You're on a rocket to the moon and you want people to join you because there's an abundance mindset that, there's enough success for all of us to share. It's not I'm successful and you're not. Like, let's be successful together. I feel that way being a local partner of yours. We're in the same market and we're partners and we help and collaborate and mastermind together because there's enough business for everybody and we all make each other better. So I wanted to share those three takeaways because they were really relevant to me. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to the replay on this because there's a lot of nuggets and I hope everyone watching got something out of it. I certainly did.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. You're awesome, Sarita. I appreciate
Take
you.
care. Have a good one.